So there comes a moment in every life when effort no longer produces any movement. No matter how hard we try or plan or consume more information, things just feel like they're not moving. It's unchanged. This is a moment where true transformation can begin. Not through doing more, because you've done so much. But now the change comes through realization, consciousness, seeing things differently. I heard DMX say, God is the only one who can make you feel better about a situation without changing the situation. In other words, the situation remains the same, but your consciousness about it changes. The situation is the same, but something about the way you see it has taken something that was not good to being good. It's a mindset shift is what we're talking about today. And the title of today's podcast is Mindset Shifts That Can Change Your Life. A mindset shift, this isn't a motivational trick. It's not positive thinking. It's not magical thinking. It's not layer over unresolved fear or this false security about something that we wish would happen. It's a true mindset shift. It is an inner reorientation. I even listen to my old podcast and I hear myself talking differently of late. It's less of doing and it's more of realizing. This is a quiet but a very decisive turning away from false assumptions. A very decisive way of turning away from false assumptions about who you are and what life is about and where your power truly resides. In this episode, we're going to explore the idea of just a simple mindset shift and the real power of simply changing and shifting the way you see a thing. This kind of mindset shift does not force change. It allows change to emerge naturally. So there's no real doing. This draws from spiritual consciousness teachings, practical awareness, and yes, live experiences. So I invite you just to kind of sit back and step out of struggle. Step out of struggle and into alignment, into acceptance, into realization. Where there's no doing, there's, like Buddha said, it's time to stop doing, it's time to start being. This is where life begins to respond differently because you are relating to life differently. So if you're listening today and you're feeling stuck, you're feeling fatigued, you're just inundated with more videos and podcasts and books and information, but you don't really see any change. This is not because you're failing, but it's because it's time to go deeper. There's a deeper level of understanding. And it could surprise you because there's nothing really to do but realize and remember who you are. So welcome into ReThink Podcast, guys. My name is Kelly. I'm your host. And it's always my pleasure to welcome you into the podcast. This is a break from our Charles Snell series, but we'll get back to that. Today, I just wanted to talk about mindset shifts to change your life. If you've been following us on social media, and I hope that you have, if not, please do so. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and YouTube Shorts. I've noticed that this particular topic really garners a lot of attention. And so we're going to stay here because obviously people want to know and people are curious and people are interested. And we're here to help. We're here to help. And quite honestly, very humbled that you would take the time to listen to me. You take the time to like a post or comment. We've been on TikTok for about, I don't think it's been quite 60 days. And we get a lot of feedback there. And I'm very thankful to the folks who have taken the time to draw attention to us. Thank you so much. If you're new here to the podcast, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't forget who we are and where we are. Old timers, thank you guys so much. You're so loyal. You're so dedicated. I really appreciate you pushing hard to continue to bring you really good content and things that I think will feed you where you are. If you want to support the podcast, please take a look in the show notes. You can always do so by becoming a member of the podcast, or you can always, send a donation or buy any of our digital products. Anything, quite honestly, will help us continue to bring you high levels of content. And we thank you in advance for that. Let's get into the podcast today. Again, mindset changes that can change your life. Mindset shifts that can change your life. Let's jump into daily practices. So the first practice is a discipline of inner observation. Before I get started, I want to tell you that I have come across a new teaching, and I'm just getting into this, but I will tell you that I don't believe in coincidences. You've probably heard this if you've been here for a while. So these teachings are by Joel S. Goldsmith. And of course, it's right on time because it is hitting me right in the space where I need a different or better or higher level of understanding, and that is of realization. And I will tell you this. So I've gone from the idea of doing to being, of believing to knowing, and I'm just in the space now of realization. So if you haven't heard of Joel S. Goldsmith, it's very simple. You can go to YouTube and you can Google it. Plenty of stuff will come up. And the idea of just knowing, realizing, and living in the space of your divinity is kind of where I am right now. And I think perhaps if you listen to this podcast, been listening for a while, maybe that's where you are. So I'll offer that to you, so you're going to hear some shades of that tonight. But if you want to get a little deeper, you can just go to YouTube and type in Joel S. Goldsmith and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So the daily practices, the first we're talking about the discipline of inner observation. What happens is most people live inside their thoughts. We know this. Our mind is continually, kicking out thoughts. And for most people believe they are their mind, and therefore they believe they are their thoughts. So wherever those thoughts take them, that's where they go. Most people live inside their thoughts without ever questioning them. There's no pushback. There's no question. They just come and they accept them for what they are. So whatever thought is, it takes them off in whatever direction it goes. And so this practice that we're talking about today, it's going to ask you, the listener, to just step back, take a step back, and not to judge the thought, not to judge it, but to notice it. So you are the awareness, in other words. And throughout the day, you pause and silently observe what your mind is saying about yourself. What are you saying about others and about life? A lot of times I find myself in the midst of conversations with people and I'm the witness. I'm outside of the conversation, if that makes sense. And I notice my interaction with my friends or my cohorts. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I don't. And most of the times I really notice it is just times that I don't really like what I'm saying because I'm either participating in a conversation that I said I wouldn't do anymore, or it's not necessarily positive conversation. So I make a mental note, we said we were not going to do that anymore. Like, what is the point of negative conversation? So throughout the day, pause and silently observe your mind. What is it saying? Notice any patterns of self-doubt, of urgency, of fear. What this practice does, it works because awareness loosens identification. Most of us are so identified with our bodies, with our names, with our skin color, with our hair, with our ethnicity, that we really believe that's who we are. So when you see a thought clearly, when you see a thought for itself, like just really a thought, like, okay, I see this thought, what it does, it begins to loosen the authority over you. and you realize you are separate from the thought. So over time, what happens is this creates space between you and your mind, you and the thoughts, space where new understandings can be formed and you can enter without force. The second practice is what's called intentional stillness. This is not meditation necessarily, not meditation as performance, but stillness as receptivity. So what that means is you're not going into a place to say, okay, I'm going to meditate, which is kind of been a lot of people's practice. It certainly was mine. But instead, you set aside some time each day to just sit quietly without trying to fix anything or manifest anything or improve anything or ask for anything, which is what's obviously commonly called prayer. And what you want to do is just simply rest in the awareness of being. You're creating space to listen, to be contacted through source. You're simply creating space, stillness, being. You are the awareness. And this practice retrains your nervous system to recognize peace as its natural state. Peace is your natural state. The benefit can be very subtle. It's not going to be some big emotional thing. So maybe you think nothing's happening, but it is profound. Clarity replaces confusion. You're connected with source, so your decision making becomes intuitive rather than reactive. And I can tell you, because I've done that, I've been there before, when you're living a reactionary life, it's very stressful. It's full of anxiety. But when you are making decisions from an intuitive, from a deep place, when you listen to that still small voice, your life will progress much smoother. The third practice is conscious language refinement, and we all need this one. Conscious language refinement. What does this mean? Well, it's the way that you speak. Obviously, the words that you say, but the frequency in which those words are emitted. This is internally, this is externally. So this is how you're speaking to other people, but it's also how you're speaking to yourself. This reveals your deepest assumptions, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about your friends and your family and your coworkers. Once you begin listening to phrases like, I always struggle, or maybe this never works, or I'm just not that kind of person. Do you hear yourself ever saying these things? Replace these not with affirmations, but with truth-based neutralities. What does that mean? Here's an example. I'm learning. This is unfolding. This practice works because language shapes our perception. Perception shapes experience, and experience is who we become. So if you hear yourself saying things that are negative or non-becoming, reword those ideas and those sentiments and say them better. And the last practice is non-resistance. It really doesn't do you any good to resist the present moment. Why? Because the moment is here. It's nothing you can do about it. It's nothing I can do about it. It's here. The only thing we can do if we don't like the moment is prepare for future moments. How do we do that? Well, how did we get here? Well, our thoughts, our words, our actions created our environment. And if you want to have a different environment, you must think different thoughts, say different words, and do different actions. And you will get a different environment. But right now, this present moment is what it is. And there's no need to try to rebuke it or to resist it. This is going to create a great deal of suffering. Resistance is hidden force of exhaustion. Each day, practice allowing what is. Just allow it. Without resignation, without argument, just allow it. This doesn't mean that you're giving up, but it does mean that you're accepting the present moment for what it is. It means ceasing an inner battle. But it also, you're conceiving to yourself, I've got the power to change this if I decide to. The benefit can be immediate relief and increased emotional stability. Non-resistant. This is always the right action to take. Non-resistance really is a seat and a staple of power. I think it says a lot to yourself if you're not resisting, you're accepting. All right. So let's talk about the purpose and the benefits of this particular topic. The purpose of this mindset shift is not necessarily self-improvement. It's about self-realization. So when you stop trying to become someone else or thinking that, a certain practice is going to make you into someone else, and you begin understanding who you are already, your life recognizes itself around that clarity. It reorganizes itself around that clarity. You begin to look at yourself differently around that particular statement, that clarity. The benefits include reduced anxiety, improved decision-making, emotional resilience, and there's really a sense of quiet confidence. Maybe the best benefit of all, a sense of quiet confidence. That it doesn't really depend upon any outcome. You don't have to do anything. No one has to do anything for you. You just know that these things work out for your benefit. You know who you are, and you operate in silence and silent confidence. This mindset does not promise instant results. So stick fast to your regimen. It does promise something for more, far more valuable, stability from within, regardless of your conditions or your situations. So, there's a 7-day challenge, and I'm going to walk you through it really quickly. On day 1, what if your focus was awareness? The focus is awareness. And so this can be really simple. On day 1, simply observe your thoughts. Don't try to correct them. Don't judge them. Just simply sit quietly and observe your thoughts. Write down anything that's reoccurring. Any reoccurring beliefs that you notice, write them down. The reflection could be, what assumptions have I been living from unconsciously? The way that we live is relatively simple, whether we think about it or not. There's nothing that you do every day that you don't believe that you should be doing, whether you like it or not. You do things because you have a deep-seated belief that these things need to be done. If you didn't believe it, you wouldn't be doing it. So what are some assumptions that you made that put yourself in a position that you don't like, but you're doing it from an unconscious standpoint? You're repeating a behavior that is not beneficial to your life. Perhaps you're a narcissist. You don't particularly care to be a narcissist, but you display narcissism in terms of your behavior. How can you correct that? First, you got to notice it. You got to know that you're a narcissist. Perhaps you self-sabotage. Whatever the activity is, write it down. Day 2, we're going to sit in stillness. It's about 10 minutes of silent sitting or more. There's no agenda. Your reflection question for the day is, what did I feel when I stopped trying to manage my life mentally? What did I feel when I stopped trying to manage my life mentally? When I stopped doing things? When I stopped thinking I had to say affirmations or meditate for a certain amount of time or go to a certain church or read a certain book or whatever? What did I feel when I stopped trying to manage my life mentally? Maybe the first thing you feel is a little afraid. Maybe you feel unproductive because you're not doing anything. Okay, that's day 2. Day 3 is about language. You're going to track your speech for the day. You're going to notice what you're saying. Notice any exaggerations or negativity or self-sabotage or self-dismissal. Replace nothing. Let it be. Just observe. And your reflection question for the day is, how does my language shape my emotional state? How does my language shape my emotional state? And I think you'll be surprised to notice that your language is directly reflected to the way that you feel. And the way that you feel, of course, is your frequency, which is directly affects kind of what you are dealing with within your day, because this is the attraction piece. Whatever energy field you're on, in terms of frequency, whatever's on that field is what you're close to attracting. But it starts with your language. Okay? And day 4, acceptance. When something frustrates you, pause and allow it for about 60 seconds without any commentary. Pause and allow it. It frustrates you, it upsets you, it angers you. So what? Pause, allow it for about 60 seconds, no commentary. Here's your reflection question for that day. What changed when I stopped resisting? When you just allow something to be, let's say someone offends you, someone cuts you off in traffic, someone says something unbecoming to you. You get a nasty email or text message or phone call. Allow it. No commentary. Now, what changed? What changed when I stopped resisting? That's day 4. Day 5 focuses on your choice. Before reacting, ask yourself, what response aligns with peace rather than fear? When you're considering action and things to do, you listen to that still small voice. What response aligns with peace rather than fear? Reflect on that outcome. What response aligns with peace rather than fear? Day 6 is about integration. You can combine awareness and stillness and language refinement in just one day. And your reflection question is very simple. What feels different now? This is day 6, integration. Your awareness, stillness, and language all refined into one single day. And you're asking yourself, what feels different? Then I can tell you kind of been there. You feel more confident and you feel more, I would say, in control, but control is a doing. But you do feel more empowered. You feel like you're living from your power because there's a knowing that things just work out for you. And then the last day is embodiment. Live the day trusting that inner alignment produces outer guidance. In other words, your inner allowance. You're aligned with your source. So outwardly, you're going to do the things that match up. This is going to be your most productive day ever. Your reflective question is, what did I learn about myself this week? And write that down. What did I learn about myself this week? Okay, that's our 7-day challenge. You want to go back through and listen to it again. But again, there are great benefits here. This is mindset shifts that change your life. And I felt like this podcast was important to bring to you because we're about to go into a new year. And a lot of people are ready to re-engage and to reformat and to reconstruct their lives. And they want better results. And I can't blame you. I can't blame you. I'm the same way. And I think it's prudent that you take a look at what you've been doing for the last quarter, for the last 30 days, 30, 60, 90 days, and determine if you can do any of those things better. In this episode, I want to stress the idea that it's not about doing. That's the understanding. No longer is it about doing. It's about being. No longer is it about faith or believing. It's about knowing and living in an understanding of who you are. And who are you? You are made in the image of all there is. You are a creator. You are divine. You are remembering who you are. You're remembering your divinity. And in this remembering, you realize how empowered you are, how everything works out for you. How people are kind and they want to do things for you. How you are kind and you want to do things for people. Okay? Mindset shifts to change your life. I trust this has been very helpful for you. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Come check us out again very soon. We'll have another very powerful and informative podcast for you very soon. Thank you guys. Have a good one.